Ruth Lamont. Sorry, Ruth Davidson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the First Minister when he'll next meet the Prime Minister.
First Minister.
I'm sure that was not an intentional slip that nobody, but maybe appropriate given the circumstances of the Better Together campaign. But nonetheless, I have no plans to meet the Prime Minister in the near future.
My apologies, Ruth Davidson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Let's stick with the Auditor-General, because this week Audit Scotland published a highly critical report showing that reoffending costs Scotland £3 billion a year. The First Minister has had 5 years to get this right, so why, according to the Auditor-General, is there such, and I quote, a mismatch between what is delivered and what is known to work to tackle reoffending?
First Minister.
Can I say to Ruth Davidson, there are substantial signs of progress in the Scottish justice system. You don't get the lowest level of recorded crime for 37 years without establishing progress within the justice system. That is something which I believe has been largely contributed to by having police across the communities of Scotland, 1,000 extra police, which the Conservative Party in this Parliament, of course, support and say they support, but it's belied by the action of the Conservative Party at Westminster, where they're radically cutting police numbers south of the border. So we take with great care and attention, because reoffending rates are a key issue and concern of this government, suggestions and positive suggestions from anyone in this quarter. But I think in reasonableness that she would concede that the criminal justice system, in terms of what matters, that is the falling rates of recorded crime in Scotland, is performing very well for the people of Scotland.
Ruth Davidson.
Well, the Auditor-General seems to think that what matters is having a reoffending programme that actually works. Audit Scotland says that the government is spending money on programmes not known to work. It says there needs to be stronger national leadership. It says there's a lack of cohesion. It says that reoffending rates are relatively static. It's also looked at the government's plans to make things better, plans that have been up and running for more than 6 months, and they say that there is still an urgent need for improvement, and I quote, in all areas. Communities across Scotland are seeing the same people committing the same crimes time after time after time, and whatever the First Minister is doing now isn't working. So when is he going to do what Audit Scotland are urging him to do and get serious, not just about crime, but about reoffending?
First Minister.
Well, let's look at some of the initiatives which are designed to tackle reoffending in Scotland, and defending for that matter. I mean, the Violence Reduction Unit, which introduced and supported by this government, which I think commands general support across this chamber. The work against violence against women, including domestic abuse, that work has increased substantially to face that particular problem. The support for victims' rights and compensation. The bill and legislation passed through this Parliament, I think, commands general agreement as well. But I don't agree with Ruth Davidson sweeping aside the reality in terms of the statistics, that recorded crime in Scotland's at a 37-year low. I mean, that must indicate some aspects of a justice system which is performing very well for the people of Scotland. And I do urge her to look very carefully at the interventions which have been budgeted by this government under great difficulties and stringencies of the intervention funds, both for early years and for reoffending, to give exactly the sort of national leadership that we believe is necessary to continue and pursue our assault on crime rates in Scotland. But ever so gently can I say to her that if the achievements that have been made have been against a huge stringency in public spending, I don't really see why threatening to cut the Scottish budget by over £1 billion, as she did this week, is going to help the spending on criminal justice, on public services, on the National Health Service or any other area of Scottish life. Now, if that's the programme that the Conservative Party want to pursue, then so be it. But don't come along to this chamber and constantly argue for public spending being directed in key areas when you're simultaneously proposing a further £1 billion cut in that budget.
Graham Pearson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the First Minister, what is the Scottish